4:30. Councilman Walker stick.
Yeah.
In preparation of your dinner.
Father God, we praise you for this day, Lord. God, use us during this time, Father. And God, we pray for those who are ill, Lord. Continue to be with them. And God, we also, God, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. And God, just for saving us, God, when we fall short. And God, we praise you. We thank you for all these things. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Billy, you do a roll call, please.
Dick White.
I'm here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bill England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw.
Ani.
E.O. Smith.
Here.
Denise Taylor. Here. Victoria Vesquez.
Ani.
David Washington. Brian Warner.
Honey.
Peach tea.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for approval of minutes.
Make a motion they be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. I've been told by the previous chairman, and he may have been pulling my leg, but if we have somebody that needs to leave early, we'll presenters, we'll bring them up first. Do we have anybody like that? Raise your hand.
We've got kids.
I would appreciate just to be out here by 5:30, but
Well, it's by 5:30, I think we can make it. Marshall Lamb.
Good afternoon. You have my report. I'll just open it for questions if you have any.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Janice Taylor.
From the Office of Child Support, you indicate an increase in numbers of applications and referrals. The first looks like half of this year increased by 400%.
I can look into it. I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm just wondering what you attribute that to. Where's it coming from? Or is it people that maybe have been working on the same issue with DHS and are not getting their child support taken care of, or just what? But I would be curious to know. That's a significant increase in a short amount of time. So I'm just
I'll find out. And
okay. Thank
let
you.
you know.
Just email me or something.
I'll find out and let you know.
we've taken over some dockets from the state, so that might be
Okay.
why that increase is there.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Wanda.
Mine was about child support too, like who determines, does the tribe or is that state, from the state mandated?
tribe
Like
what?
the child support payments?
Uh-huh.
Is that, does your department determine that, or does the state, does it come down from the state courts or local courts?
Am I understanding your question right? You want to know who receives the funding?
No.
Okay.
Who determines, does Cherokee Nation, I know, or?
Family. The family does.
No, who determines the amount they have to pay, I think is what she said.
No. Is okay,
We go by- I'm
do you
sorry.
find these fathers and our mothers that need to pay child support, are they already determined?
A few years back, there was a big movement within child support to make it more compatible with what people could pay. And we were one of the first ones that jumped on board with that. And so we can go to court and ask for a judgment and a payment. Now, is that what you're asking?
No.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I can.
Well, we're 0 for 3 now.
Yeah, okay.
This may
Okay.
take till 6 o'clock.
No. Do you find the fathers and our mothers that pay child support to our Cherokee mothers? Or does the state mandate that, or or the court system? Or do you determine it, your department? Is that what?
Once it's turned over to us,
Okay, it's turned over to you. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank
if
you.
it's turned over to us, it's all us.
Okay, but it's, okay, that's what was my question. Because I didn't know if we had a system where Cherokee Nation, your department, we go out and find our fathers and mothers who are not paying child support, and we
Yes,
make rules and determine the pay. Okay.
that's
thank-
part of the MOU
Okay.
that we handle.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Sean Crittenden.
Hi, Marcia. On the clothing vouchers, we had our last dates at the different places. Had one at the Votech. All right. Are there still some pending applications? And if there are, and they're calling,
No, we're still in the process, Sean. We're still processing stuff. It takes a little while to
so
do
there's
that.
still some pending.
Yeah.
So if they're calling me, am I going to get one or am I not? Do I?
You know, you have to keep in mind, anytime we stop operation to look for something, it takes a long time to find it because we bring all those applications in to all the different sites. And then we have certain staff that encode, meaning it gets it on the system. So I would say give us another couple of weeks at the most
For them to be contacted?
for them to be contacted. You know, if it's something that they really need to know, because we try to get those out by the time the school starts, and I know schools are starting. You know, we try to make that a preference. So just ask them if they'll call me. I'll try to find out.
And I know we've discussed this several times, but I have to voice a lot of folks as concern. Is there still, we kind of dove into it a little bit, but their stage is kind of unhandy for a lot of them. And I don't sit around the house doing surveys, but they contact me and they'd really like to try the Walmart thing again. And, you know, we're a year out now, and did anybody else have those same concerns? Not that it matters, I'm voicing my district's concern, but I had a whole lot again this year about maybe doing a Walmart or something. But
Charlton, I can tell you that we're looking seriously at a process. It's called a convenience card. And where they can go wherever they choose.
Oh, okay, and it
We're
kind of
looking real seriously
limits
at
what
that.
they can buy.
The good, bad, and ugly on that. So maybe by next year, we'll have it where they can go wherever. Not to bad mouth Walmart, but they won't give us the same benefits, like they will still charge sales tax. They'll still charge this, and you know, and it's just not the best program. You know, if they would open that door, we've talked to, I guess, everybody up the chain. So I know David's talked to some. So, but this might work out really good if we can get it all worked out.
All right, thank you.
Welcome, Mike Shambaugh.
I hate to go backwards, but paper service, child support, do you have people serving those papers, or do you mail them, or what? How's paper service on people who are behind?
For what? I'm sorry.
For people who pay child support, what is the process of service? Do you have people who serve those papers, or are they mailed, or what's your service process? Just mailed or served for service?
I think it's mailed out,
Mailed
but I
out?
can double check.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mary Shaw.
Hi, Marcia. Marcia, I actually had 2 phone calls from people about the clothing vouchers. And I don't know why me, but okay. So I'm going to ask, how many stage stores are there within the 14 counties?
I can get that to you. I don't know right off.
There's not one in each one, is there?
They also have, it's not called Stage, but they're still, it's owned by the same Stage store. So like, there's not a Stage up in northern area, but there's that affiliate. And all that information is given to the participants. But if they'll just call us, we can tell them where the nearest Stage store is, or we can tell them what the affiliate is.
I have a question. Are the stage stores that are in the 14 counties, the ones that are available and their affiliates, are they Cherokee owned?
No,
No.
I doubt it.
No.
I don't believe so. It's a
Okay.
corporate.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your answers. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Marcia. I'm looking for Ms. Kitcher.
Marcia Nagata,
Yes.
you have your reports before you. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Pam Baca. If you would please stand, Pam. Thank you. She manages our youth development and our adult residential program. If you have the opportunity to meet Pam, you'll find, or you probably already know, how passionate she is about her programs, and her enthusiasm is contagious. I get excited about working with her and her programs and the cultural development that she instills in the programs. On average, she serves approximately 200 youth per month and about 61 adults. This month was actually a low month for them for July since the schools were out, but on average, we serve about 200 a month. And across all the counties that we serve, multiple counties that you see before you, the number of students and youth that they have served. What I'm excited about the program is we've been collaborating with the various programs within the Cherokee Nation. This past month, we've had partnering with the Human Services, serving the adult program with speakers from the Victims of Crime unit, helping our elderly in the residential programs. We've also are lining up the, in addition to the victims of crime, is breast cancer and cervical cancer awareness with our adult residential programs. We're expanding services at no cost at additional cost by partnering across the Cherokee Nation. Another partnership, we've collaborated with Career Services to produce activities fostering our cultural programs with our interns this past month, the internship program. We continue to market our program to recruit more participation. In our environmental health program, we have Billy Hicks present. As you know Billy. He has been able to, this past month, trained like 116 food handlers and 16 sewer and water facilities. We've launched all of our MOAs with our self-governance program. All the MOAs for the projects have been launched. We list a host of accomplishments this past month. Fort Gibson water treatment plant is complete, and grand opening will be celebrated soon, tomorrow. Exactly, and a construction on the 2 Mile Road water line in Muskogee, and Delaware, and so forth. As you can see, there's like 8 accomplishments listed there, along with future plans with other communities and working with the SDS program. We've submitted our SDS data and our comments to the consultation topics. Do you have any questions on the OEH&E or the youth development and adult residential program?
Dave Walkins.
I just want to commend Billy Hicks for coming to the poultry pollution there in Delaware County. He came and he brought a lot of knowledge to the folks up there. Ed Fight was there, and he was really saying a lot of big entities in Oklahoma are trying to steal him from Cherokee Nation to employ him over there. So you have a valuable asset there. I know you're new to the area, but you know, Billy's well thought of across the state of Oklahoma. So anyways, Billy, we appreciate you. All right, thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Yes, I've become well aware of who those subject matter experts are in that department. He is one of them. Not only is he well known here in Oklahoma, but across the regions, specifically in OEH&E. So very well regarded here. Thank you, Billy.
So he's talking about Billy Hicks and not Ed Fight. Is that
Mike?
Billy, if you're going to be around after this is over, I need to talk to you just for a second. Certainly. All right, thanks, sir.
Anything else?
Sean Gritton.
And pardon me, you introduced the good lady here. Can you touch again on the adult service and youth services, just kind of what type of services those are? I latch on to something that I can refer someone to, and I apologize that I hadn't been utilizing that one. So can you touch on some of the services there?
They have, Pam, you want to talk about the program? I can, or she can do better.
We have, I have 5 staff members. We go out to the housing sites and low-income communities. One thing that we're HUD funded, we're totally HUD funded. The HUD had told, the HUD funding people had told us that as long as the school is in a poverty school where the entire school gets free lunches, they would like us to work with Boys and Girls Clubs too. So we do that. We have 7 different groups. Our Cherokee Heights group we do twice a month. Most of them we do once a month. We go out and do an hour-and-a-half to 2-hour activity with them. Those activities can include leadership development, community service projects. I love making community service projects. And cultural crafts, traditional games, any drug-free presentations we can do. I do a lot of things like we've got to make bouncy balls, because bouncy balls you mix borax, cornstarch, and glue, and it starts out real liquid and sticky, and then it turns into not a totally firm ball. And I go into the fact that this all changes as a chemical reaction. So when you put chemicals in your body, it changes your reactions to things. So I try to make everything I can some kind of learning experience for them. This month our kids are making paracord people. They each one make 2, one for themselves and one for a do free at school. And that's the kind of things we do with kids. A lot of their community service projects is activities for as cards or gifts for our veterans. Our adult resident service activities, we go out to the adult housing sites. Most of them are senior sites, and we do crafts with people, build a rapport with them, find out things they need. Like through our meeting with them, we found out that one of the residents at Sallisaw he left his door open because he had a family member supposed to be coming to help him pay bills, and when someone knocked on the door, he told him to come in. He was in his recliner, but instead of his wheelchair, and the person came in and beat him and walked him because it wasn't his family. So that's why we had the victim. That way we knew there was a need, so we brought in the victim people who come in and talk to them.
Well, I've seen you.
Help to build a relationship.
I've seen you out in the communities, different things that you're doing. I just wasn't sure
That's not what we do. We've got 9 adult activities and 8 youth activities we do every month.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. And Gary Cooper. Before you get away, we'd like to hold you over for that resolution.
You bet. You bet. I can do that, and thanks to Wanda and Mary both for helping us with that resolution. We can get to that whenever we get to that point a little bit later in your agenda. I know y'all have had a long day. Y'all are running a bit behind, so I'm going to just keep my report very brief. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. I will just give you a brief update on our college housing assistance program. We took applications through August 3rd. I think we got about 135 new applicants. I think about 57 were continuing students. So staff is busy. We just closed that out. They're busy making sure that everyone turned in all the paperwork we needed, trying to make determinations on whether or not those families are eligible. I've spoken to both Keith and Janice to give them the good news. We are right on track to have the elevator improvement that we've been working on for seems like forever now completed at the Claremore Will Rogers Senior Housing Complex that we have up at Claremore. This project will actually it's been an ongoing deal, but we're actually adding a brand new elevator to that property. So there will be a brand new elevator for seniors. Those of you who have been there, it's a multi-unit project, 2 stories. It's all elderly, so it has an elevator there. Of course, problems with elevators is they don't work all the time. So we will have a backup, we will have a brand new elevator in place, and then the existing one will be used as a backup if we ever need it. So that's one of the things that I wanted to be sure to mention. I think other than that, I will just stop right there. Unless anyone has any questions that they would like to ask. And again, I stick around for later, and I'm also always available by phone if someone has a question.
And thank you, and David.
Hey, can you send a balance to all the council members of how much we have in our emergency rehab account? Just a balance. I know we appropriated 15,000 or something like that per council member.
Are you talking about each individual council member?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess you guys will still want to know what your balance is.
I think most ones they have them because they ask me whenever they get ready to use them. But I can send you your balance if you want to.
You send me mine. I don't know if the other council members want theirs as well or not. Because the deadline's coming up here. Is it September 30th, I believe?
Yeah, September 30th ends the fiscal year. But yeah,
I want mine.
Do we have to spend
I think we got yours. No,
If we don't spend it, we don't carry it over?
that's a Jody question. I don't know about that. I just keep track of it.
I don't think those funds carry over. I think they. Yeah, I think you lose them.
Kanan, could I ask you to go fetch Jody for us? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
I don't think they carry over.
I think it just.
I mean, I don't think so, but I don't want to answer that question with not knowing the correct answer.
Harlan?
Gary, this question, I know it may be a difficult one to answer, but how far are you out on building new homes on new construction?
That's a really difficult question to answer because there's a lot of factors that play into that. I mean, like right now, I think we have 90-some under construction. They're wanting to know council emergency funds with those carry over. If they don't use those balances before they
It's not, I don't believe it's ever really been addressed, but I don't see why that, we actually transfer that money to you, or have they been reimbursing you?
It sits out here and we reimburse for it.
Yeah. It's never really been addressed. I
Should
don't
we-
think it would, really, I don't think they would. I mean,
If we want them to, should we put it on for next rules, or?
Yeah, and I was gonna suggest, can we not redirect that back if we don't use it? I mean, can we, it's for community projects, correct?
no, it's the housing.
Emergency rehab,
Right.
okay.
Like handicap ramp.
We would need to do a budget mod to bring in carryover
Okay.
once the year's over with, so.
Would you recommend that, Jody?
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be a problem, so.
Okay.
I mean, we'd probably need to see some history, because I know a lot of you guys are not hardly spending any and some spending everything, so that's.
Yeah.
Is there a way to track the balance on that, or?
Well, I mean, have you,
Oh, yeah.
it's been, I think, Mr. Cooper's been,
Yeah, we track the balance.
Is there any way, Cooper, that you can get hold of that data and
What date?
see what our balances are per council member for our emergency rehab dollars?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can get that information rather quickly because I pulled that. I know over the last month, I've probably talked to no less than about about five people around the table that's asked me for that specific information, and it's just a matter of here's what it is.
I think the speaker is, go ahead and.
Can we not break up this issue in rules and redirect that and do it in a budget mod?
yeah, I mean, I know some types of funds where you have carryover, a lot of times you're actually carrying over amounts, like say roads or law enforcement, you carry over amounts because you've got a big project in mind.
Yes.
In this case, you're either using it or you're not using it in your district.
Sure.
I mean, carry it over. I mean, if you're only spending 2,000 of your 10, and next year you're not going to spend $18,000, and if you carry over, you only spend 2 of that 18, you're going to. I mean, it's just tying up money that's.
Right.
In my opinion, that wouldn't be necessary. You're either going to use it or you're not within your district. So, I mean, if
So we have till September the 30th to use it.
right. But it's, I mean, it's on you know, individual little project basis. It's not like you can use $8,000 for, or, you know, I mean, it's.
They could, I guess.
I mean, they
Like wanted
could,
to.
I mean,
For a
but,
bathroom remodel or something.
right.
What are the wishes of the committee here?
It's up to, like I say, it's up to you guys if you want to carry it over.
Carry over?
It's-
Yeah,
Does that sound good?
carry
Is
over.
that good?
But we would need to consider that in, when we do carry over
Okay.
and budget mods, so.
On the agenda, you can't, it's not on the agenda right now, so.
Okay. We'll put it in rules then. Okay. Our budget hearings, we could, if we knew what the balance was in a budget hearings, we could make it.
The problem is if it's very much, you're not gonna have the funds in the budget to be able to say that.
Gotcha.
And you won't know the balance because we won't be to the end of the year, so.
But he said he can get it fairly quickly though.
That would be your balance, your
Current
current
balance.
balance. He's talking about you won't know the balance for sure at the end of the year.
We're not through September 30th yet, so you won't know what balance you need to carry over yet.
We're close, we're a month
Well,
out.
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but there's a couple of people around the table who have pending jobs.
We've got that on the agenda, okay? All right, we're good. All right, thank you.
And I've got Mr. Shambaugh first. and
Just real quick,
Then Mr. Frick.
I would like to have mine, because I know I'm getting very close to not being done, so, yeah, I know.
Really close, yeah.
I would like to know how much I have left. I have a handicap grant if I have enough that I need to know for.
Yeah, I can get that information for you in the morning.
Okay, that'd
And
be
I
great.
think the last two that you requested for me, the vendors just got their information back.
Okay.
It took them a couple weeks to get their information into me, but we got it. And I think one of those jobs have already been completed and one of them hasn't. So I just need to find out if they both been billed and those invoices have been paid
Okay, thank you.
Thank
to
you.
finish up that
John?
balance.
Yes, Gary, I think I know my balance, but I'd like to get mine too.
It's the same as it was last, about November.
Right, yeah. Now, I got a question. Is the at-large, is their money still going towards the scholarships? The way it was intended?
There was no intention in the emergency rehab pot, I believe that there is, I don't have the budget narrative in front of me, but I believe it's a straight $150,000 in there to be divided up between 15 council districts, which puts it at $10,000
Yeah,
per.
but in lieu of that, there is, in the donations budget.
Yeah.
It goes to Cherokee Nation Foundation.
Right, because when we set this up, you know, it wouldn't have been fair to allot all of us this, and so we talked about it.
Yeah, it's in the donations
Chief
budget.
and Todd, they come to Greasy, Oklahoma, we talked about it.
I only see the housing part
Yeah.
of it, but yeah, that's in another budget.
Okay, but that's,
I don't understand what you're saying. Are you directing it to me?
yeah, well, I'm not directing it
Oh, you were
at you,
looking at
but,
me. I thought maybe I
but
needed it.
what do you know about that money though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, because we were, well, initially, you know, we were setting this up, these cases where Gary couldn't help right away, and, you know, we got a pot of money each, and 15 ways. So then we set it up where you guys can't use emergency rehab, obviously, and so you got some scholarships, and that was something we were all proud to do. I was just making sure that you guys were still getting that money.
Was that the $50,000 in scholarships for the at-large?
Well, it goes to
Should have been
the,
additional.
to the
Foundation.
Education Foundation. You get, in lieu of getting housing rehab, there's a donation to the,
Do you remember what that donation was, Jody?
I think it's matching the housing rehab.
10,000.
Yeah.
$10,000 per
For
council
two.
member is what the
Yeah.
rehab part is.
Well, we'll take all you all can
Yeah.
send our way, let me tell you.
Yeah.
For good cause.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, sir.
Mike, let me call Nikki Baker up because we may run her over pretty quickly. I think. We didn't think we were going to.
One thing I was gonna pass out is the angel tree. We actually call it the Angel Project, just to not copy the name that the state uses. The locations and days that that's available. Just wanted to go ahead and be ahead of the game, pass that out so that you'd be provided that information so you could provide it to, of course, your areas. I assume that everyone received my June 2018 report. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Basically, at our shop, it's basically the same type issues, just different families that we're helping from month to month. So.
Okay, any questions? You must have done a great job.
Is that two?
How many angels did you have last year?
Boy, I knew that number at one time. I believe it's close to 2,000. I would have to double check the exact number, and I don't mind sending that out to you, but I'm 99% sure I'm within, give or take 30, close to 2,000. And I'll be honest with you, that's really hard to organize within the short amount of period of time with so many locations. But my staff has done it for so long that they've kind of got it down to a fine science. And so I'm proud of them. They really try hard and do well at getting the gifts, having them packaged, making sure they can pick up at locations that are convenient and at times that are convenient. So I will take that moment to brag on them. They do a really good job and they really try hard.
David?
Thank you, Councilman. Hey, Nikki, what's the status on the ICW case that made it to the Supreme Court?
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, and that might be more of a legal question for the AG's office in a sense that I do not keep up with the exact dates on those. Is it one that we've talked about before?
Yeah, it's the one regarding the UKB child in the Cherokee Nation. The caseworker found the aunt unfit to be a parent or to be a guardian or whatever, so they took the kid out of there and put it in a non-Indian household, and it's the Katuas are wanting the child back into the Katua home or the Katua family, and I guess the Cherokee Nation's fighting to keep the kid in a non-Indian home, and the Katuas are trying to fight to keep the kid in the Katua household.
I can't comment in regards to the confidentiality of the case, but I can say that Cherokee Nation only uses Cherokee homes.
But it's in the Supreme Court, right?
When you say Supreme Court, I think you're talking about our district court.
Maybe district court.
Yeah,
okay.
and that's with our tribal court. When you're talking about the Supreme Court, I thought you meant of Oklahoma or of the United States. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
But as to that case, I cannot comment as to the status of that. Just can't do it.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
I was just gonna go back to the angel tree, and Nikki been good about any of the kids that fall through the cracks on this stuff, and your staff's already busy with this, but you always took phone calls, so appreciate that.
You bet.
You get one. Just get one. So.
The also I was going over our budget mod, and I seen that ICW we had a foster home there in Welling, the McIntosh home or something.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of comment how all that developed and and it's like we're spending like $75,000 or something for it. Like what's
Sure. So what the McIntosh home is that there's a lady named Devetta McIntosh, and she kind of had a dream of when she passed away, she wanted to donate her 8,000 to 9,000 square foot home for use of foster care. But then she decided, you know what, I want to see that happen before I die. And so they created the home, as a nonprofit organization, and she actually donated it. So then I was contacted by the lady, her name is Krista Roach out of Stillwell, who basically helps Devetta, and she's a counselor out of Stillwell, so those of you from that district might know her. But she basically said, we have this home, and we want to know, should we go through you, ICW, or should we go through DHS? And of course, I want to say, through ICW, please let us use that home, because it's close, it's large, and we already have certified foster parents that are going to actually move into that home. They're certified with DHS and certified with the state. Of course,
is this a group home, Nikki?
it is not a group home. There are not allowed
we are not allowed to use group homes. And so I will say that because people are not well educated in the field of Indian child welfare, that term has been used, but it's inappropriate. It's basically a foster home in a large home. And so I think some people have called it a group home because they're just uneducated and they don't realize that you cannot, the law does not allow group homes. There has to be special certifications. We do not have the ability to certify a group home.
What's the capacity of this large home?
Cherokee Nation has different policies, of course, than the state does. We are becoming Title IV-E certified, which will allow for all sorts of endless funds to come to Indian child welfare, so it's something to be really proud of. In the state of Oklahoma, the Chickasaws and us are the only large tribes that are Title IV-E certified. The Choctaws are closely following behind, and we will roll that out in 2019. So I say that to say, under Title IV-E policy, we can certify a home for up to 12 children. However, it depends on how many children are in there, their needs, their ages, and so it will be rare to get up to 12, but it is possible.
Is this land going to be in trust status?
It is not our home because, again, she's using it as a nonprofit. In order to start that home, like, it was 20 to 30 years old, and so why you were being asked for money was because they needed repairs in order to bring it up to code. They didn't have sufficient areas to wash the kids' clothes. In the bedrooms, the bathroom were part of the bedroom. Well, we know with children in there, they need privacy, they need doors on there. And so there was all kinds of modifications that had to be made in order to make that usable for children in the foster care system. And so
we're not going to own this property, correct?
we will not own the home.
We're just going to spend $75,000 for, I guess, improvements on the home so the kids are in a safer environment.
I submitted that because I am aware that we've made like $100,000 donation to this group, or $50,000 to this group, and so I felt like it was something I would submit and ask for because I felt it could really benefit Cherokee children and Cherokee families right here in Cherokee County. And if we were to use that money, I don't think we would use all of it because they have been submitting on Facebook for people to come and volunteer their time and donations. And so at that time, that was the amount I was given that was needed in order for the home to become up and running. But I believe if that money is granted to Indian Child Welfare, we will watch over that. We will try to make sure it's TARO certified vendors, that we get the 3 bids and we follow that process, and that we try to help this home get started because it is our money and we do have cause to want that up to code. So I don't think we would spend that amount, but because we would have the benefit of them only using Indian Child Welfare and always having a home that will take children 4 to 18, they actually prefer teenagers, that's really hard to find. And most of the teenagers that I currently have in custody are in a group home setting because we don't have people who usually certify and want teenagers, whereas this family does. So again, it's just, I feel a very good use of the funds to have a home here that we can use that will only use Indian Child Welfare children. So I feel like it's a perk to the nation.
So, expanding on what you guys are doing, which it's not called a group home, but
Yes, sir.
it's a large home.
Sure.
I like that due to the funds that it could bring into public school America. Okay, so if there's a way to put this land into trust for, they could bring impact aid dollars into the Tinker public school system, if you could say that this was Indian land. Okay, so I know we had talked about this a couple years ago, talking about, I said the word group home, but a large home, with the housing authority implementing these homes for large foster homes, so that our kids could, one, they could be around each other, they could learn the language, and so I like the idea of where you guys are going with this, but have it benefit everybody. I know it benefits Cherokee Nation. It's we can place kids in here pretty quick, but let it benefit the school system as well. If there's a way to get this property to trust or Indian land, 12 kids is a lot of money for Tinker Public Schools. You're probably talking $100,000+ there. That's something to think about. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
John?
Nikki, I know this family and good folks. Now, is it going to be intended to be rotation's a bad word, but is it gonna be foster intended, or are they gonna be looking to adopt, and hence, not that it's a bad thing, fill in some of those 12 slots?
Sure. The intention will be strictly foster, and that's one thing that I keep educating the family on. It's hard to not let your heart get attached to
Right.
children, especially if their family cannot correct conditions, but our goal is to foster, because that home will fill up very quickly, and you would have to move that foster family out and put another foster family in order to meet the goals of fostering children.
When they turn a specific age, or?
Well, if they wanted to adopt and then their home had 6 adopted kids, how many more foster children can you fit? Because you have to count your biological children also.
it's kind of
So
intended
they
to be
just have to
foster.
be cognizant that if you want to adopt the children, then eventually you might not have room for additional children. So, maybe they move back to their old home.
With
So,
the
this
adopted
is-
children, and someone else could
Right. This
maybe-
is kind of just a new project. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It's got lots of good people with good hearts, with good goals, but I'm not sure exactly what it's going to end up looking
We're
like.
not
But the
married,
foster's
so
the
to
goal.
speak, to that one family, right?
Correct.
If they decide to do something else, the home is still there.
Yes, and each year we'll decide if we want to continue to assist them. So if it ends up not meeting the goals and vision of Cherokee Nation Indian Child Welfare for what's best for our children, then it might be that we just say, thank you so much, it's been fun working with you for the last year or two, but we're going to do something different, so.
Well, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, Janice Taylor.
I just want to point something out. I've worked with DHS a little bit, and when you have teenagers that have been in the system a long time, and Nikki indicated this would be kind of, not necessarily targeted toward that, but sometimes they just need a place to kind of take care of their own stuff and work their way through the system.
Right.
And I think having them plugged into us, you're going to help them get on the, their services they can access even after they're 18.
Yes.
You got Job Corps right here. I think this is a great thing for an underserved age group in the foster system.
Right. And also, just so you'll know, the Methodist home
Yes.
also has a great program for children, usually 18 to about 22 or 24, and it helps provide them care, and they can live there as long as they're going to college or something to that nature. And so I have referred kids over to that. So just realize we have that great resource here in Tahlequah also.
I was aware of that, actually. Yep, that's all I had.
Yes, ma'am.
Murrah Children's Home is, we're looking at a program to establish, maybe where the kids can stay after 18 too as well. We're working on that
Fantastic.
right now, so.
And we do also use that facility, so.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. Michael?
Good evening. I know we're running severely behind. I'm going to make my report very brief. We are moving lots and lots and lots of utilities right now. Moving utilities on Northeast Fort Gibson project, Ross Street project here in Tahlequah, White Oak Road in Veneta, Craig County, Chimney Rock Road in Mays County, and Bell School Road in Adair County. So was going to get into kind of where we are on those processes, but I'm not going to get into that today. We're we've got a lot of utility work going right now, and as soon as that utility work is done, we'll be getting these roads out to contract to go under full construction. Trying to final out a project in Adair County, Honey Hill Phase 1. We've been kind of holding out on the final payment on that project till we got adequate vegetation growth out there. So we believe we're there right now, so we're about to make final payment on that project. And then lastly, we're trying to still continue to try to finish up the Leech Kenwood Road in Delaware County. Latest schedule that we received from the contractor has them showing them completing at the end of this month, end of August. So working towards that. Mr. Chair, that's all I really have. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
You bet. Thank you. Frankie?
Any hope from Malloy Hollow?
There's still hope for it. It is one of them that we have still. It's still in design right now, and I'm
For the last 7 years.
Yes, it's still in design.
7 years.
7 years.
I know that we don't, this probably isn't our deal, and this may be in a civil matter, but the company who did the Leech Kenwood Road took rock or fill from a person's property, had a deal with them to pay them to do that. They haven't paid them to do that. Can we release the name of that company, of those people, so they can, or can we get a hold of, they don't know how to get a hold of the company to say, hey, You know, you said, you said that you'd pay us for this, you haven't paid us anything. I know it's not our deal, that's more of a civil deal if you don't get paid, I understand that, but can we release that name to that person, that company, and how to get hold of them?
I don't see why you couldn't release that name. I mean, landowners out there should know who's working on their road. They probably
They don't know how to get a hold of
them. And we typically don't, you're exactly right, we typically don't get involved between agreements with the contractor and landowners. And we tell every landowner that we come into contact with, if you enter into an agreement of any sort, that's between you and the contractor, not Cherokee Nation. Our project, begins and ends in between the right-of-way lines, and so anything outside of that, those right-of-way
Do you feel
lines.
comfortable giving me that information?
Yes,
from the
sir.
contractor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I can get that for you, and I'm familiar with the situation you're talking about.
Okay, all right,
So.
thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And for Hannah Knight, Gary again.
So apologize. Annis was unable to make it. Shay had to go pick up kids, so she asked me if I could take any questions that you have and take them back to her, and she will be sure to follow up with each of you on any answers that you might need. Y'all have their report, and I'll be happy to take any questions that you have back to them.
Any questions? Guess we're good.
Thanks, sir.
Is anybody here for Rob Doherty? Tammy.
Rob couldn't be here today. He actually took a small vacation.
Oh.
It's the first one I know of that he's taken. So you all have your reports in front of you. We really tried to emphasize our conference, which we talked about it last month a bit, but we did put the data down there so that you could see how many people attended and what a wonderful conference it was. So I know that we're running over time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
And thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir. Harley.
On page 51, you have organizations receiving technical support in July, and as a whole list, what kind of support are we talking about?
That means technical assistance. That means training hours, which would encompass any CAUTA trainings, any cultural, any history presentations that we have provided for that month. And that could mean that they have attended in person or watched it online, because we do film all of our trainings, so people are able to tap in online as well and watch, and then they report back to us. So that's how those hours are accumulated.
And these are all native organizations?
Yes, they are all Cherokee community organizations. They are local as well as at large.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Anyone else? And thank you.
You're welcome.
In old business, none pending. New business, Wanda, your name's on first.
Sorry. Okay. This is a resolution supporting the expansion of a section of 184 Indian Home Loan Guarantee Program to include certain counties in the state of Arkansas and the state of Texas. I move for its approval.
Second. And I think, didn't you want this to go to full council?
And I want to go to full council as well.
And so we have a motion and a second. Gary? There he
Yes.
is. Right.
And so I want to, this has actually, there's been attempts at kind of a bigger part of this for many years. I think whenever Wanda first came on the council, she asked me again about this. And Mary, I know, has done the same thing, so I've always been on the lookout. Lo and behold, found out that the Choctaws were looking at the Texas region, and instead of asking for the whole state of Texas, an area of about 5 counties. So we worked with them and said, okay, how did you come to this decision? And I said, okay, so we went back and looked at, we'll support you here. Let's look at what we can do, and that is those Arkansas border counties that are really good for us. We identified 5 counties, got the data that shows what the need is there, how many Cherokee citizens we have living there. We can show that those citizens are eligible to receive health care in our clinics and receive certain services inside the tribe, even inside the nation, even though they don't live here. So that is basically what this does. This doesn't impact anything that we do at Cherokee Nation. It just says that, hey, HUD, will you look at expanding the 184 Loan Guarantee Program? If you know, that program includes certain counties in some states, includes the whole of some states like Oklahoma, California, different states. Would you include, because we have people who live in these 5 counties in Arkansas, these 5 counties in Texas, look at expanding that. That's what this does. There's a similar resolution that passed through Intertribal Council because it will ultimately help to impact the lives of not just Cherokee citizens, but also a lot of Indian families, because it would open up a home ownership opportunity that wasn't there for them.
And so, I know 2 hands up. Sometimes I wonder if on this one, I just ought to start around, but let me go to Sean first. I know Sean and David want to ask some questions, so Sean, could you?
Talk to Dick a little bit about this, Gary. All right, Section 184, I've been referring a lot of people to that. And so I understand that this has nothing to do with Cherokee Nation new construction, which is a 184, right? So that individuals can go do it, right?
Yes. This is for, if HUD expands the programs, yeah, it would open up those areas of Texas, those areas of Arkansas, to be approved 184 counties for individual Cherokee citizens, that they could borrow 184 funding in. Especially if you, for instance, down in Brian's district, up in West Siloam Springs, for instance. I know several families who, work in West Siloam Springs, but they can't find a place on that side of the border to live, so they got to go across the border in Arkansas whenever they look to buy that home. They're not eligible for that loan product because that isn't an approved area. It's not Oklahoma, it's not Colorado, California, some of those other states that include the whole state.
Let me ask you this. So the 184, there's so many slots, right? No?
There's so much loan guarantees as appropriated by Congress each year to back up the amount of guarantees that they can issue.
Right, there's just...
No different than like a USDA loan guarantee program, the VA loan guarantee program. They're all along the same lines. Congress appropriates funding each year to back up or to issue those guarantees.
So if the people in my district are trying to get the 184 loan, whoever they're trying to get it through looks at the balance of however much money there is for the 184.
They don't see any of that. They gather the information and submit it to HUD for approval.
I think what I'm getting at is the people in my district going to be competing for money in the same money that the Arkansas and the Texas folks are going to be competing for if there's just a certain amount of money?
No more so than people in New Mexico, Colorado, California, Oregon, Washington State, Montana, all of the Plains states, and so on and so forth. Those are all, and it's been a while since, I know I've shown a map before. Anna's probably brought a map before that shows what the numbers are, 184 loan guarantees throughout the country. You will see that Oklahoma has 5-10 times as many. I don't have that in front of me, so I hate to say.
19,000.
Yeah, 19,000 loans of 30. Is there 30-some thousand issued? 41. So 19,000 of 41, so almost half. Almost half is for those folks in Cherokee County. Cherokee Nation, or in Oklahoma, Cherokee country. But if you look at that, we don't know how many of those are Cherokee citizens. You have Cherokee citizens who live in California, in Colorado, in Montana, and this goes on and on. that can still get that money even though they don't live within Cherokee Nation. So, and I think that's why the at-large council members have brought this up, because it is a housing program that can benefit their constituents more so than anything else that we
I
have.
can see.
But I mean, I cannot tell you, because you're asking me to tell you what Congress will or will not do, and I can't do that. Congress is the one that appropriates the dollars, so I can't tell you that they wouldn't be competing and Congress does something quirky with appropriations this year or next year and changes that. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Kind of both sides. Thank you.
Hey, Gary, Sean's question is the people in Adair County, within the 14 county jurisdiction, okay, is this resolution of support, is it going to take away from these 3 counties, or wherever you're saying in Texas and Arkansas, is it going to take away from the people within the 14 counties?
No, I don't believe so.
Now stop right there. So Congress is going to have to increase dollars for it to not take away from Adair and Sequoia and Cherokee County. But
I don't
if
agree
Congress
with that.
appropriates the same amount of dollars and we add Arkansas and Texas, then it is going to take away from Adair, Cherokee, and Sequoia and 14 county jurisdiction and the state of Oklahoma. Is that correct, or is that incorrect? Correct or incorrect?
I don't think that's a question
Yes or no?
That isn't a yes or no.
Yes or no?
It isn't a yes or no.
It is.
No, it's not, because
is.
you have
You
have folks that have
Gary,
you have 20,000
Gary,
loans issued right now.
Listen, hey, when you come before us and we ask you a question, you dance around a question 100 different times.
I don't believe I do.
You do. And we want. Sorry, Councilman. We just want a direct answer.
I don't think that
is
is
this
a-
resolution going to take away from the people in the 14 counties?
I do not believe it will. No.
Okay.
But
Good.
I mean,
that's what I was wanting to know.
I don't believe it will.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
And I think that some of and I was under the impression that it's not going to take away from those in jurisdiction. And so that, I knew that question was coming.
Sure.
And so we needed to get that behind us, but we need a definite answer if we can. And from what you're saying, I know the Mount on High in DC, they're voting for these appropriations. You and I are not.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in charge of them. But I think it's a good question, and it needed to be asked.
Sure.
So anybody else have any questions? Wanda? Yes.
This is for Cherokee families, is that correct?
Yeah, it's for, actually, yeah, yes. It directly benefits Cherokee families living in those areas.
Okay, thank you.
And that's what we're supporting.
Thank you, Chairman.
And Keith, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, is there a reason why we are not seeking support for this in Kansas or Missouri?
Kansas, there's areas of Kansas and Missouri that are already included.
Okay.
And already approved for 180.
Okay.
So you would have the lower section of Missouri that includes, like Newton, I don't remember those counties off the top of my head, but there's several counties there in Missouri that are covered.
Good deal. Thank you.
And the only 2 counties currently covered in Texas, there are 2 counties, one just south of Houston and one out towards El Paso, if I'm not mistaken. So the one south of Houston would be like Alabama Coshada country, and the one out El Paso, there's a tribe out there. But those are the only 2 counties in Texas.
Thank you. That answers me. On the fourth whereas, there's a typo, I believe, that should probably be corrected before we actually vote on it. It says since 2014, Cherokee Nation has as assisted. I believe that as is an extra word there that should go away. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. So that just needs corrected before we actually vote.
Okay, Wanda, would you correct that for us, please?
I'm sorry.
Are you accepting the correction?
Yes.
And who was the second?
Janice.
I accept it. I'm all about good grammar.
Hang on just a second. I've got a first-time questioner, Brian Warner.
Thank you.
Gary. First time questioner, long time listener.
Quick, how many times do they actually expand the availability of this loan in other places across the United States?
To approve certain areas. Off the top, I couldn't give you a definitive, but it goes back to the question Keith answered. I know that there were some counties in Missouri that are probably in the most recent edition, but I couldn't tell you how long ago.
Okay. Well, my point being is, I mean, we might as well, if this is something that they're doing across the United States, we should take the opportunity to help some of these heavily, you know, when you look at across the United States at a county or somewhere, how many Cherokees do we have living in there? And obviously, we've done our homework on some of these because you've got some good numbers there. We might as well take the opportunity to expand in these areas. So, thank you.
And let me start over here. Denise, were you a first-time questioner?
I was a first.
I believe you are.
Actually, I just have a comment, and
Yes.
it is with Arkansas in particular. We got 2 casinos sitting on the border. And if we don't try and help our Cherokees that are quite possibly working at our casinos and living just across the border, shame on us.
Harley, I'm going to start with you and come around this way if you want to ask a question.
I don't know, I got different feelings about it. It's kind of like, go back to the health issue. They only eligible work to come to the health issues if they go to Indian Health Service. We don't use Cherokee dollars for them. Is this going to expand into Washington? Is it going to expand into Oregon? Is it going to expand into California for Cherokees? That's my question.
It's already in those states.
That's correct,
Could it, Gary?
It's those are already approved areas, that the 184.
I see.
Already approved 184 areas.
So those are like Washington, Arizona, they're approved areas for 184. I see.
You?
I think every question's been, I support it, you know, there are bordering, you know, it's like somebody said earlier about the casino, a lot of employees live over in Arkansas, so I'm good with it.
Doc?
I've already spoken,
Yes,
so
you
I use
have.
my one turn.
And then some, Victoria? Franklin? Mike?
I get a lot of calls because that's my area, West Side Loan, and there are a lot of people just on the other side of the line that do need help, that do call me and are sometimes unable to get help, and I'm for it.
Chief?
The at-large people, they're very limited in what services they get from us right now.
Yes.
I don't think this has taken an enormous amount of funds from us. 184 is a loan program, from what I recall. As a matter of fact, when I was in office, we did the very first 184 loan program. It's been a good program. So at least, you know, we can offer that to our people that are not eligible for much else.
I just hope I don't get a call from some people that their cousin in Arkansas got a house and they've been sitting on ours for 3 years and didn't get a house. That's what I'm worried about, you know.
It's a homeowner.
This doesn't affect this is not a program that we do.
I'm gonna be for it, but I'm just saying I hope I don't get a call like that.
Sure, and I mean, the thing is too, if someone would like to obtain their own 184 loan, we can certainly point them in that direction. We can give them a list of approved 184 lenders, some that we've worked with, others that maybe we haven't worked with, but we know that they're 184 because there's a list. And I've probably sent out the link to, I think I've sent it out to everyone before. I've sent it out to individual council members before. I'll be happy to send that again. HUD website, and for those who are listening on streaming video, HUD.gov, go to that website in the little search box, just type section 184. They have a website devoted to the section 184 program, tells everything about it, but you'll also find a list of all approved 184 lenders there, and it'll tell the counties or the states where they participate in. So some will nationwide, some may just be certain areas, but you can look on there, and that's first. I always tell people, first thing I would do, look at that list of approved lenders, see if there's someone that you do business with. If you have a relationship with them, talk to those folks first, and then go on from there. Look and see.
give someone a call and they can, but it gives a lot of information about what the program is, how the program works, what you can do. You know, you can buy, build and rehab, or build or buy and rehab. Are some of the options. But no, it wouldn't do anything to anyone on our program because this doesn't have anything to do, this is not a program we would offer. It's a program that they could get through an outside bank with the government guaranteed loan like a VA loan or a USDA loan.
Okay. And so Rex? I'm good. You're good, David? He's good.
I'm good, but I have one more question.
No.
You
had your turn.
We're going around the horns here, so he gets his time.
Thank you, Councilman. So, the Section 184, right now, like when we go build an Indian home, okay, like in Cherokee County, for instance, we're going to go secure a Section 184 for that individual so they can start paying their 184 off.
No, we secure our own 184 loan.
Okay, all right, through Cherokee Nation, okay. So we're tapping into these congressional dollars, these Section 184 that they appropriate, Cherokee Nation, we're tapping into those $184.
To the 184 loan guarantee
Yes,
program.
yeah. So why can't we build Indian homes in the state of Texas or Arkansas?
We don't. I mean, Housing Authority doesn't have the ability to work anywhere outside the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I can answer for Housing Authority.
Okay. Now let's say this. What if we were to build an Indian home outside of the Housing Authority? Is that possible, and put the land in a trust in Arkansas or in Texas?
Can't do that.
Can't do that.
That's outside of my realm of expertise.
It's because it's outside of the jurisdiction. Okay. All right.
If we could do that, we'd have a casino in every state.
New business opportunity.
Steph will do it.
Okay.
Figure it out.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
The benefits for the at-large Cherokees are very, very slim, and I personally would appreciate your support on this vote.
Brian? John?
Yeah, I'm gonna comment.
Go ahead.
You know, what Brian said kind of hit home with me. This won't be the last states that we add. I mean, right.
And we don't add any, it's also
Right,
the
well,
government's
we was a
decision.
bad thing, but that they add and
Sure.
we approve or,
I mean,
join in with
I don't think so, because, I mean, not too long ago, they added
Congress has
Right.
five new tribes.
So that hit home with me.
Still gotta be
And
eligible for it.
growing up in Peavine,
Get your loan.
you know, Washington County
Take the money away.
was our go-to to go to the movies. Siloam,
Okay.
they're our neighbors.
There's tribal
And,
members that want to
you know,
for a loan, they'll
and
get
I
it.
like them, in this business, there's not a whole lot of definite answers anywhere. I like those definite answers. You know, I believe, I'm not blaming you, but it's hard to just guarantee something.
They need money, one
Uh, but, I think this is a chance to be good neighbors and,
As far as 184,
you
that's the
know,
reason we can't build more
so
homes.
I'm gonna
Because we have to have a 184 capacity.
I'm just wishing there wasn't all these side conversations that create.
Well,
the chatter room.
and this, and I knew we'd have some, because this is something we kind of sort of haven't done before. Joe mentioned that back when he was chief, they started this program here in the jurisdiction. And so let me ask again why it has to go over tonight. Why are we in such a hurry? Does anybody know?
We don't have to do it tonight, do we?
If we have the votes, can we go ahead and take it to council?
I mean, but back to Gary, we don't have to do this tonight, it's not an emergency.
I would leave it to the sponsor. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I can tell you the Choctaws have passed a resolution. Intertribal Council has passed a resolution to support this. So, I mean, HUD is considering the expansion of the Texas area. I think we would like to see the expansion of Arkansas, of those counties in Arkansas to help. those folks who we, probably, I mean, how many people have you went to school with or grew up with that live over in Arkansas now? I mean, that would be the only reason I would encourage, because I know that they're looking at those areas in Texas. So we kind of want to piggyback off of that to say, hey, we also consider these in Arkansas at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only reason I know.
Well, yeah, we wanted well, Gary, you're on
Yeah.
several of those national
Sure.
boards. We wanted your recommendation.
We're not taking the vote now, but I'd like to see some shaking of the heads that we're good with sending it over tonight if it passes. Do I see? Yeah.
I think that was the motion.
No, that's not the motion. Oh, the motion is send it over
Yeah,
tonight.
it was part of the motion, yes.
But let's make sure of where we're at. You guys ready to vote?
We're good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Announcements, next meeting tentatively scheduled for Monday, September 10th.
Let's do adjourn, Chairman.
Second.
Second.
We're adjourned.